Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of Deadliners, the current affairs program run by comedians or people who think they are. And they are some of the best comedians in the UK, USA, Canada, Australia, from all over the place. We are blessed with amazing comedians, some of whom are here with us tonight. In any event, the guy who's really got the skinny, who's really got the lowdown on BBC is Mark Rivlin, the king of the one-liners. And Mark, on this particularly important night, with all this news breaking and Talk TV, Talk as it's now called, axing and now firing Mike Graham for not cooperating with their investigation, it is claimed, and all of this upset in linear television, terrestrial television. What do you have to tell us?
Well, in my opinion, Roger, the only way to deal with something like this is to write jokes about it.
Humor is the best.
And my hatred of the BBC is reflected in a few jokes that I wrote this week, knowing I was coming to speak about this very important topic. Yeah.
You sound very serious,
serious.
Which I must say is hugely out of character. Do please continue.
Especially as I don't have a brain. So BBC, the acronym, of course, is Bias Brazen.
You can't say that.
You can't say that.
You can't say that.
Oh,
Serious
I'm
stuff.
so sorry. The thing is, President of the United States of America, the BBC have got until Friday. Will the BBC duck Donald?
Duck Donald.
Oh, that's good. Will they be able to duck
Will they Donald Duck?
No, I didn't get it the first time.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, there's actually a noted doctor, a Harley Street consultant,
Yes.
who said in his opinion, you know, the guy giving the advice about this is a real quack.
Well,
That's a good one. Now this one is perhaps a little bit edgy, too edgy maybe some may say, but the truth is the BBC is like a divorce settlement. Alimony. Because let's face it, that's where the money to teach Gary Lineker how to be a filthy anti-Semite.
On Deadliners, we only like clean anti-Semites.
Yeah, yeah. Well, where do the BBC millionaires go to get their suits? Savile Row. French Jimmy Savile. And they knew what was happening, and they did nothing.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and he claimed he was fitted out, but
Well, he was fitted out, wasn't he? How's about that, guys and gals?
suit you, sir.
And I do all my work for charity, and here's my Rolls Royce.
Wow.
Now, the Israeli Prime Minister has got a nickname, and you all know what it is. The Israeli Prime Minister says the UK's national broadcaster, the BBC, is anti-Semitic. So, BBC.
BBC.
BB Netanyahu. You can see through
He
it.
knows it.
Yeah, now the other thing is this whole thing about the BBC and Auntie. Many years the BBC was known as Auntie, yeah, and now they're known as Anti-Semite. The BBC, yeah? Yeah, do you agree with me? Anyway, it's good to see the back of Dim Davie. Not Tim Davie, Dim Davie and Deborah Furness.
Furnace, right?
Yeah. Don't pay the BBC TV or radio licence fee because you could end up in prison, but it'll be time well spent.
Oh.
Yeah. And the last thing, and it's true, isn't it? They've reached the gut of the BBC. They're not a public broadcaster. They're a pubic
Oh my God.
broadcaster, and that's my BBC.
You can't say that.
Dragging it down to smart.
You can't say that. No, you can't say that. You can't say that.
Whoa.
Oh my
You might as well
goodness.
just cut the whole lot.
You can't say that. Oh my God. Oh.
Wow.
Now, over to Anna right now.
Sure. Well, given that it's Christmas coming up, a time of festive fun, everyone's preparing, it's one of my favorite times, Christmas, because, we see the adverts, it's all sort of, it's all, kind of bullshit with the adverts, but it's nice, we sort of want to kind of feed into that.
Warming,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's warming, it's nice, it makes you feel a bit like a kid again. I love watching the adverts. I do actually, even though it's like, doesn't happen in every family. However, this year, I don't know what you think, but I was a little disappointed with the John Lewis advert this year. I understand the message, and it's about isolation and things like that with a kid, but I left there sort of watching it going, was there more, it's kind of like going to your relatives one year, lots of food, then going back another year and having to sort of Google how to cook pasta.
What's the advert?
So
about?
I've not seen.
Describe
I've
it.
not seen it. Anna.
So the advert is basically the father comes down, he opens a gift from his son. The son doesn't give him the gift. The son is on the stairs with his headphones watching his dad unravel it. So he's unraveling it, and then it's a record, which, by the way, they are putting in John Lewis. They're going to have listening places. You can actually sit down and listen to the records, and they're selling. You're welcome, John Lewis. So he opens the vinyl, listens to it, and has a memory of like his happy days as a kid, his 90s, and he's sort of reminiscing about the clubbing days, and then you sort of see the growth of the child from baby up to like teenage years. So and then they kind of hug, but it was a bit sort of like, oh, that's great. It just wasn't Christmassy for me.
So
That's the point.
Well,
Is your Christmas not like that?
Well, because
This
sounds-
actually is. There's a lot of isolation and ignoring each other. So actually, it's a bit too honest for my kid.
so it sounds a bit depressing. Like the father in this advert is reminiscing on lost youth. Yeah, no, that doesn't sound very
Yeah, and there's no communication with his own son.
Yeah.
And so they're almost celebrating the isolation.
Yeah. They're kind of sort of going, look, cost of living crisis, we know it's tough, we don't want to rub it in your face or anything, but I didn't know, it's a good advert in itself, I thought, but for a Christmas thing, I just was like, whoa, shit, man, times are tough.
I mean,
Let's
John
get out of
Lewis
it.
in their Christmas crackers, do they have Prozac in them or something now?
Possibly.
Yeah,
Viagra.
But, yeah.
at Christmas, you like any holiday, like a religious holiday, you're enjoying the company of your loved ones and forgetting about your 90s record collection or something like that. So for him to be at Christmas reminiscing about a better time would sort of suggest that
He
Christmas...
doesn't much like his family.
Yeah, exactly.
90% of the UK population can't afford to go and buy Christmas presents at John Lewis.
No, it's-
Good
yeah.
point.
I
Yeah.
would have thought.
That's a
Yeah.
very good point.
And that's
Yeah.
the, but now
So
what,
who are they speaking to? Stoke Newington,
Clapton.
Islington, etc.
North London.
Mm.
And now what they've done is they've created these places, listening booths, where you can go to John Lewis, not spend, obviously, but go in there, listen to the vinyl, and be sad with other people. So they really I think for this room,
Yeah.
So like the Tube, but with music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was a Christmas.
I guess they might have thought. I know they might have thought it through though, because if you're really depressed and you have enough money to spend, then you just do some shopping in John Lewis and
Sure.
think that will treat
Or
your
you
cure your
send-
depression.
You send
Yes.
Fortnum and Mason hampers to all your friends at 300 quid a pop or something.
Yeah. Well, you look at the M&S advert.
With
Dawn.
Dawn French.
Yeah.
That makes me
Dawn,
so happy
definitely.
when I
Yes,
watch
I'd
it.
like to get up at the crack of dawn.
Explain that. Explain that advert, because I don't know that one
So in
either.
comparison, it's just total opposite. Where Dawn French is sort of in the car, Or she's got her presents in the back, and then the truck is in front. She gets out, does this. Obviously, it's her. Does her own stunt work, rolling over the car, and goes into this massive truck, and everyone's just bolted in and just eating amazing food from them. And I can't say it.
M&S.
But are they still? Isn't there a whole thing about her making all sorts of anti-Semitic
Well, she
remarks?
did, yeah. So Dawn French
And
did
they're
a
still
video.
using her for that?
Yeah, they said that they wouldn't. Now they are. So Dawn French did a video on TikTok or something, or Instagram or something like that, and she said, "They did." Speaking of Hamas on October 7th, they did a bad thing. A bad thing.
Oh, that sounds like Nick Fuentes. He's yeah. I'm so tired of hearing all you Jews talk about the Holocaust and Hitler. It's fucking boring, and you black people and all your bullshit about slavery, Jesus. But I mean, Nick Fuentes and his new friend Tucker Carlson and all that. All this bullshit about
Tucker's gone completely
you
insane.
black people with your fucking slavery. It's so boring. Go back to Africa because I'm cool. We're young and American and white and cool, and nobody's interested in your bullshit and your Jew Holocaust. And I think Hitler was a cool guy. And all you black people with all the, well, hey, go away and don't bother me. And this guy goes on and on. And it's a gimmick to make himself famous.
Of course it is, but actually those people like Fuentes and Tucker now, they're becoming boring by just doing this. Like,
They are
trying so hard to be edgy.
They are so predictable.
Yeah.
They're about as edgy as... Oh, I can't say that, can I? No.
Well, you
thank you.
did.
Can we get beep?
Yeah, you said a few beepable things, I think.
Yeah. So what do we got next, Jimmy Jims?
We have...
Good rant.
what
I
would you-
think that rant deserves a round of applause.
Absolutely.
Good rant from Raj.
Well, do you want me to leave mine until the end?
Yeah.
All right, so next is Brooke.
Oh, so over to you, Brooke.
The cost of living crisis, or the cost of living with the Tory and Labor monopoly on government crisis. The cost of living crisis is something that a lot of people talk about, but they don't really always think about where it comes from. And so I want to back up a little bit and talk about the Bank of England. And the Bank of England right now, much like the bank in America called the Federal Reserve Bank, owns a lot of English bonds. You're yawning already.
No,
This is why.
wait.
This is why.
But it's true. A lot of people find this so boring. It's so dangerous and so outrageous and so uncalled for and so vicious and horrible, and yet people find it so boring they fall asleep.
It's effing boring.
It sneaks by.
Yeah, it's effing boring that the Bank of England owns 800 billion pounds of British bonds. And the reason they own 800 billion pounds of British bonds is because nobody else wanted them. And if they didn't buy those British government bonds, then interest rates would go up, demanded by the bond market to buy them. The bond market's not going to buy them at these interest rates. So the bond market is signaling to us that the British government is probably not going to keep control. And if they're going to buy the British government bonds, they're going to need a higher interest rate. But to disguise all that, the Bank of England comes in and buys it. Buys the bonds, creates artificial demand, and in return injects 800 billion pounds of cash into the economy, which directly reflects in your milk and egg prices. So it's sort of like being on a bus and it's headed towards a gorge, right? And instead of slowing the bus down to make time for a bridge to be built, they're hitting the accelerator, right? And so I think to better understand this, that I should tell a story.
Go on.
I'm going to tell a story. All right. So imagine you're a single mom. You're a single mom and you own a car factory here in Britain.
As most single moms do.
You're an amazing woman. Yeah. You imagine you're an amazing woman, Roger. And you're a single mom because men, you know what I mean? And you own this car factory and you export cars and you have a 12-year-old son. and your 12-year-old son mows your lawn. He mows your lawn. He's sort of like your civil servant, your own private civil servant. His job security is there. No one else is going to take his job, but he's not going to make a lot. He makes a tenner to mow the lawn. Yeah, and he spends it on candy and soda, And so so this sort of works, right? But he comes to you one day and he wants more. He just wants more than a tenner. And you say, "No, son. In fact, if I don't sell more cars, you might be getting a $5 next week because you're sort of a luxury mowing the lawn, and we have to sell cars to pay for this house." Right? Well, just about that time, a man in a suit comes walking by their house while they're arguing in the garden. Yeah? Yeah, and he says, "Hey, I can help out. I'm a central banker. I'll tell you what. Hey, kid, I'll give you the $5. Your mom can give you 10 and I'll give you the extra $5." And the kid says, "Really?" And he says, "Sure." So the kid takes the other 5 and he heads up and spends all 15 at the corner shop. And, and the corner shop loves it. He sells a little more bubble gum. And the kid comes back with a big jawbreaker in his mouth. And the central banker's leaning against the tree and he's smoking. And he says, "How the sweets, kid?" And the kid says, "Amazing. How did you do that? Why did you give me the extra 5 that my mom said I couldn't have?" And he said, "Don't worry about it. I found the key to your house under your mat. And I went inside and got in your mom's shoebox. And I took out the $5 from there." Because this is what the banker does. When the banker prints money, they're actually destroying your savings in your shoebox. I mean, this is just an analogy, yeah? So that your savings is getting destroyed. What you can buy with your savings gets diluted. So in essence, they're taking from your savings shoebox. So the kid says, "All right, well, geez, mister, thanks," but he kind of feels uneasy. But a few days go by and he gets a little older and he's kind of addicted to the candy. He needs a little fix. And pretty soon a girl comes along that he wants to impress, and his friends he wants to impress. So he finally comes back to the central banker and he says, "Hey, mister, you got any more money? I need more. I don't need 15. Now it's a crisis. It's a financial crisis for me. I need 45. I need 45. And the central banker says, "For you, kid, no problem," And he sneaks in and he gets 45 out. Mom still doesn't know. She's running her business. She's a successful lady, but she notices the workers are asking for higher wages. They need more wages, and the cost of steel's going up to build the cars. But she sees her son's doing okay. He seems to have more friends. In fact, they just made him class president, her son. And the corner shop guy knows his name. "Hey, Timmy, come on in. We got your favorite sweets." And the ice cream guy knows his name and everything, And then pretty soon, a little time passes by, and there gets word that there's going to be a pandemic. Yeah, there's going to be a pandemic. And all Timmy's friends are going to call in sick. But they all want candy and sweets for when they call in sick and ice cream. So yeah, it's boring. I know. So Timmy goes back to the central banker and he's like, "I need 800 pounds. 800 pounds. All right. And the central banker says, "No problem, kid." Grabs it, hands it to the kid. The kid goes out. Now the mom's thinking, "Oh my God, the expenses are going up for my business, and now I need to go put a roof on the car factory." So she heads upstairs to her shoebox to pull out the money, and she pulls the lid off the shoebox, and it's gone. All her savings is gone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and she goes to Timmy. She's like, "What happened?" And he starts to confess, and she says, I need that money, I got to put a roof on me. I got to invest in cars. I have to invest in cars." And And Timmy says, yeah, but I spent it. I gave business to my friends. They got money, and they all gave the corner shop guy business and stimulated the economy. And he's like, yeah, Timmy's a good kid. He buys candies. Everybody knows him. He's wonderful. And mom says, yeah, but I can't invest in a factory to bring money into the household. This is all squandered. And in fact, for every dollar the Bank of England or pound the dollar created by the Bank of England, it only adds 50p to the GDP. The rest of it's squandered, yeah? So, I mean, basically how this ends is she said, I can't believe you did this. And then Timmy's girlfriend says, oh my God, you sound like a fascist. And all his friends say, oh, Timmy's mom's a fascist. And she gets so embarrassed that she just stays quiet. And then eventually people unionize Timmy and his friends, and they get uniforms and guns, and then they put his mom in a gulag, and she starves to death. Happy Remembrance Day, everybody. This is why our ancestors fought, so that the Bank of England could help the government bankrupt the country. Thank you.
Whoa!
Well, that was
Pisses me off that nobody can get their head around it. So I'm fucking trying.
Yeah, the story helps. Definitely.
James is going to talk about something that has been written about in the last couple of days very eloquently, and it is the feminization of the educational and institutional system. It's really serious and it's really scary. James?
Yes, so is it any wonder that boys, young white boys, are drawn towards figures like Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes, is it, who you were talking about before?
Fuentes.
Absolute freak. I mean, he's like about 5 years younger than me. He looks like a middle-aged golfer or something, doesn't he? Oh, he does. I mean, seriously. Milo Yiannopoulos has gone after him. Yeah, so you have these women where their version of education is basically always coded in feminine things.
When you say these women, who are you referring to?
Teachers.
Teachers.
Female teachers.
Female teachers.
And, there'll be, they'll espouse views like compassion, empathy, crap like that. When I was at a perfectly decent public school...
Getting beaten, yeah.
Well, no, we were beating the...
Getting pegged.
No, we were beating the non-whites at my school, actually. And anyway, so I was a perfectly decent public school.
Any story you want him to tell, he turns around into...
An innuendo.
Oh my God, yeah.
Sorry.
Perfectly decent public school, right? And we had some female teachers there. And what we did then, I mean, it's like if a boy at my school espoused something like compassion, empathy, progressive type of boilerplate kind of slogans, they'd be beaten to a pulp.
But
and rightly so.
You're messing up the whole story.
I'm not messing it up. I'm not. Look, I'll get back to that. Look, we had female teachers. We had female teachers.
There's nothing wrong with compassion and everything else. There's nothing wrong with compassion and empathy. You're making it sound like because of your perverse nature, you're making it sound like these women, teachers, are nuts for espousing compassion and the rest. That's not what the story is. The story that you sent me is their woke behavior, their twisted views of history,
their twisted, deranged views,
their twisted views of what they are teaching. They are selling people, calling it compassion and kindness and fairness, which is anything but.
They weaponized compassion.
They haven't weaponized compassion.
Of course they have.
They are selling bullshit and calling it compassion.
Well, what have I just said? They've weaponized compassion.
That's not weaponizing compassion.
Of course it is.
I'm just a bit confused. So you're talking about...
Well, I've not had a chance to actually fully explain the story because of Roger, as per usual.
Look, because you've come in and said these women
It's
teachers...
the audience's fault.
These women teachers are... The bitches are teaching compassion and kindness. That's no good.
Misogynist? You're calling them bitches now.
No, that's what you just said.
I never called them that. I called them many things, but not bitches.
Isn't Andy Zapp on the bitches?
He's in.
Oh, bitches, sorry, yeah.
He's with the bitches.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right.
They are espousing far left LGBTQ plus whatever values, transgender ideology. They are telling young boys that
That they're defective.
that they are defective females and that they should act more like females.
Now you're on track.
Now I'm on track.
Yeah.
And the female way of, I mean, I love females and I love their way of communicating, but these teachers are telling boys that the female way of communicating
Is the only way.
is the only, it is absolutely the only way, the gold standard, and that they have to move more towards that, and that there's something wrong with them if they act like boys. Horrors.
And they make them feel guilty. And
They
the
make them feel
classes are, and the parents' night, the article you sent me said was a disaster. Everything about the school is filled with slogans
Yes.
that promote all this terrible stuff. And they're
Black
calling
Lives
it
Matter as well. All that.
and Black Lives Matter, and they're calling it compassion and kindness, and then the boys are not kind because they're too masculine.
Yeah.
By this logic, the Ukrainian army could beat the Russian army by gossiping about them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but the thing is, it's like I'm just still confused. I'm still in a way because I haven't read the article. Because at the start,
It's basically young boys, teachers, mostly female ones, but you've got some male,
James will send you the
Trans
article.
adjacent.
It's one of the best written pieces. It's
Who's
gone
who
viral.
wrote it? Who wrote it?
Somebody named Wokow.
No, it wasn't an article, but it might.
It's
It was
an
the same
X-
size as an article. It was on X.
It's an X post that goes on forever.
basically-
James will send it to both of you.
Yeah,
It's beautifully
basically,
written.
female teachers telling young boys they can't behave like boys, but it's much more detail in that. But it's basically that. That's the gist
And
of
not
it.
just teachers in schools. It goes into institutions, NGOs. It's permeated society.
Here's the thing: it's like essentially
Yeah.
they're basically saying every societal problem that exists today
is because
is a
of men.
result of men.
Masculine
and it could
values.
be that we already know it's because of the Jews.
Do you think it's
No, it's true. It's true. Absolutely.
Do you think it's